Hi, I'm Dean Janes, Chairman and CEO of Imaging3. As promised, these are the responses to the questions that were posted on our investor forum on our website at imaging3.com. You can view these answers and the questions that were posted and that I have answered on our website in a special part for the answers for the questions on the investors forum. When I start off, I'm going to start off by who posted the question and also the question, and then I'll answer that. And it'll be similar to a Q&A session. To start off, I'd like to answer several questions that were in general about the FDA submission. Now, I can't go directly into the specifics of the submission, primarily because it's proprietary data between me and the federal government, the FDA. Also that the images and whatnot that was provided and the submission itself provided would, if we posted that or we made that available to the public, could cause issues with the FDA, and we don't at this time want to have any issues being this close to being approved. I'll start off with one question in general that I wanted to address directly, which is posted by Craig G. Worth commenting on over the next 30 to 60 days, will Dean be able to communicate with the FDA? Can we do this, or are we prohibited from doing so? You're not prohibited from doing so, but as a shareholder or someone that's following the company's progress, I would highly recommend that you do not contact the FDA. I seriously doubt they would take your communication, but it would be something that would impede the progress of our filing, not help us out. I appreciate shareholders and others wanting to help, but that wouldn't help us at all. Moving on to the next question, Jim wrote, what happened with the company that wanted to get a Dominion for their veterinary business? Since they do not need FDA approval to do vet work, can they buy one or maybe help out as a partly or partial luminary site? Do you think FDA would disapprove of this? Sale would help your bottom line too and get the product in the marketplace. Right now we have limited amount of resources and a limited amount of personnel to do work, and with the FDA progress very close, it doesn't really seem likely for us to try to work at installing this product in any sites currently. Now that might change down the road in 6 months or so, but it's not something that we really want to do. The FDA doesn't mind us doing that, and we are still in contact with these people and may end up doing something down the line. The next question from Andrew Heggie. Following FDA approval and ramping up to full production and sales, how long before you expect i3 would be paying dividends, company profits to shareholders? Naturally, Dean would need to recoup his very substantial personal investment and pay off loans first, but at the estimated gross margins described in earlier conference calls, positive cash flow and profitability should not be too far down the road. Are we looking at 12 months, 2 years, or more than that? Currently, Imaging3 shareholders carry common stock, and common stock doesn't really pay dividends. And it's not something that's out of the question down the road, but I don't think that's something that will be occurring anytime soon. Moving on to the next question, which was posted by Nate. How well are you set up to expand production or provide data to another manufacturer? My experience with startup and new product introduction has been that engineering drawings, part lists, and QC data are sorely lacking because of the nature of R&D efforts. Do you have bills of materials, parts lists, and documented test data and QC requirements so that an outside manufacturer or your own new manufacturing personnel can rapidly produce the device and provide field service support? I've been meaning to ask this for some time during the telephone forums. That's a really good question. During our process as a new FDA manufacturer, device manufacturer, we have quality control systems in place. We have documentation for parts lists, for building the material QC reports, whatnot. So yeah, we already have pretty much everything we need to do to provide an offshore or a local manufacturer to help us with production. So that's not really a problem. With our distribution model, using distribution companies that can provide help in sales, they have to have a service presence in the area. And it's something that we've done in the past. We've actually taken this model away from Toshiba and OEC, which was bought out by General Electric, and how they distributed their products in a similar fashion. So yes, that's something that will happen. We'll have a national service and sales force in place at very little cost to Imaging3. Moving on to the next question. From Mark. Thank you. Could you or Dean also comment on how Dominion measures receptor entrance exposure? Does it use a DAP meter or some equivalent? Do you have comparative data in your marketing material that shows us various REE or different fluoroscopic modes? That's, again, a proprietary aspect of our product. It uses a similar device as a DAP meter. Most people don't even understand what that is, but it does. The FDA requires that you do air karma, which is dose reporting to the live image. So yes, we do measure the dose, and it is displayed live. Moving on to the next question. Sen wrote, what is the cash position into 2011? Added, what if FDA does not approve by 2011? Well, I'm an optimist, and I believe that we're very close to being approved. I don't think it's reasonable to think that we're going to take until 2011. As far as the cash position is concerned, I have personally several credit lines available to fund the company if we take longer to move forward, and also have other credit facilities available to us through companies that provide financing for public companies. So I'm not really worried about funding at this point. I think that we're very close with the FDA, and as soon as we have FDA approval, we have agreements in place that we can initialize for financing from that point forward. Moving on to the next question, Brian Murphy had posted, basic point, does the FDA know that we are low dose and that we are not grouped in with high radiation systems? Yes, the FDA is very much aware of our dose, of our system. They don't really lump you into a low dose or a high dose mode system. They look at a very substantial report on what doses are coming out of your product via mode, via the expanded dose that's going to the user and the person being imaged. So it is a low dose, and the FDA does know very much about our dose rate. Moving on to the next question. Andrew wrote, I am not in a hurry like many. I think it's a matter of time for FDA approval, but I thought I heard there are hundreds of orders waiting to be made and shipped. Is that right? If getting FDA approval is your core priority, why not hurry? How about selling them overseas to start? This is very similar to the answer I had made about the veterinary market. We have limited resources, and we don't want to convolute our point or our mission to provide this product here in the United States. The U.S. is by far the largest market in the world for medical imaging equipment and should be our focus. And again, I'm an optimist, and I feel that FDA approval is looming. We're very close. So we don't really want to look at marketing overseas, primarily because a lot of overseas have similar FDA approval processes, and others that don't require to have a substantial presence there, meaning that we have to have sales and service and manufacturing capabilities, and I don't really think that's where we want to be at this point in time. So moving on to the next question.